Good day, good day. It's so nice to see you again. I'm just thrilled that you have chosen yet again to take time out of your busy schedule and spend a moment with me, learning the finer points of being a Victorian gentleman. Today we're going to talk about traveling, and while that may seem rather mundane, it's very important that you do so in a proper way. Now, if you're going on just a short trip, all you really need is a valise. There's no point in overpacking and putting the servants through having to drag trunks and other things around, or putting the porters at the train station to greater work. A simple valise will usually allow you to take what you need without overburdening anyone. Now, if you're traveling away for an extended period of time or going overseas, then of course a steamer trunk would be most appropriate. But yet again, I would suggest, besides your steamer trunk, which you, if you plan properly, won't need till you get to your destination, pack a small valise for your necessities en trip. Now, traveling. Of course, in these modern days, we travel mostly by train, and while sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable, or going through tunnels, if someone has left a window open, you may get cinders and smoke and such, and not a pleasant thing. A gentleman never complains. You confront the issues and problems stoically. There's nothing worse than a loud mouth and complaining about this and going on about that. Nobody enjoys their company. Nobody wants to be around them. So, yes, you may be uncomfortable. Yes, you may not be happy with the situation. But don't be a loudmouth complainer. If a window needs to be closed, call the porter over and ask him if he would mind closing the window, or speaking to whoever it is that has the window open, and see if they might be willing to close it for everyone's comfort. But don't make a big to-do or fuss about it. Another mistake to avoid when traveling is don't over-tip. Now, it might seem that you come across as a person of largesse. What a wonderful man he is. He always gives me a little more than everyone else. Well, no, you may have porters or whatever, if reputation gets around, clamoring over themselves to help you, which in some ways might be nice, but really what you're doing is you're bragging with your money. You might as well stand on the platform and tell everybody what a wonderful person you are and how great you are. Well, how disgusting would that be? All you're doing is making yourself look bad. Here you're bragging about how wonderful you are, and instead people are looking at you and going, what a braggart, what a fool. And we don't want that at all. No, we want people to look at us and admire us as being a stoic, quiet gentleman who goes about his business with as little fuss as possible. Now, traveling abroad, the other mistake that is quite often made is the one of comparing the places you're traveling to with home. Now, between you and a companion quietly, that's quite all right, and say, oh my, look at that. Here they do this and that way, and so much different than what we do. That's fine. But don't go telling the person there, the waiter at the restaurant in Paris, oh, we do this so much better in Boston or in Montreal or wherever it is you might be from. The way you do it is archaic, or no. If you want things to be the way they are at home where you live, don't leave home. Stay there. The joy of traveling abroad is experiencing the differences of different cultures and the way people do things. So rather than cause havoc or make yourself look foolish or embarrass your traveling companions by complaining about things not being like they are at home, embrace them. Yes, the food will be different. You're not at home. So if you're in France, you're going to have French cuisine. If you're in Italy, you will have Italian cuisine. Enjoy it. That's why you're there. You're traveling to experience the differences. Don't make yourself look a fool or a bombastic idiot by complaining about everything, about the food's not as good as at home, or they're how can they call this such and such? That's not what we have at home called that. Well, guess what? What you have at home may be a poor imitation of what you're enjoying in the country that you are visiting. So be a gentleman. Accept things as they are. Enjoy them, because that is why you are there, to learn about the culture, to learn about the food and the way of life. You're not there to educate people on how you live. If they want to find that out, they'll come and visit your country. How would you feel if a person from France or Italy or Spain came to visit you and started telling you how foolish things are the way you do them, or how terrible your food tastes because it's so different from theirs? You would be rather insulted. So put yourself in their shoes for a moment, and why do you think they're going to embrace you for enlightening them about their food or their culture or the way they do things? Of course they're not. They're going to look at you as, oh, another one of those pompous tourists from across the pond. You don't want to do that. That is not a gentlemanly thing to do. It is just rude and bad manners. So I encourage you, if you are able to travel, by all means. It's a wonderful thing and a wonderful way to educate yourself about the world. But always be willing to, as that old saying goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Now, of course, there are limits to that. If it violates your ethics or violates your principles, then you may wish to not participate, but by all means don't correct or point or make fun of their way of life. So, those are a few things that you can do. Other points of etiquette when on board the train or on board the steamer are things you would do at home. Holding chairs for ladies, opening doors for others, etc. Just simple, everyday good manners. You can practice those anywhere in the world. So I encourage you, as you go about your daily routine, whether it be at home or abroad, always be a gentleman. Watch what you say and who you say it to. And never assume that you are superior, because oftentimes, by doing so and making comment of it, you lower yourself to the lowest of low positions. So I hope you've enjoyed today's lessons, and I encourage you to travel if at all possible. There are many wonderful places in this world to discover. Until next week, when we look at more of the etiquette and proper manners of a Victorian gentleman, I bid you adieu.